The story in and around the valley is just such a beautiful one. We're situated on 7,500 acres of pristine nature and surrounded by 2 world-listed national parks. And flowing through the middle of our incredible valley is these pristine waters of Carn Creek, added to these incredibly rich botanicals which are all just growing naturally on property. And that really sums up the base of what the gin is about. It really has this wonderful story that people just fall in love with. One of my colleagues said, James, there's a gentleman who's just proposed to his fiancée, and they were Mikey and Freya. And I said, well, congratulations, let's have a couple of glasses of champagne. So one thing led to another, and then we had this conversation. I said, so what do you do? And Mike says, well, look, I've got a gin bar and I've got a barbershop in Sydney.
And I said, James, you know, you've got your own water source here and you bottle it for the guests, which I thought was really incredible. And vast land that I'm sure there's lots of edible botanicals.
And he says, well, what you need is a gin. And I said, well, that's an outstanding idea. So he goes, what we need now is we need a distiller.
The brief for this gin was to create a gin that had a real local flavour from the Wolgan Valley. I think the French describe it well when they talk about terroir, capturing, I guess, the flavour and the essence of a place. Using some botanicals from the area is one way of doing it, but another very nice way is to also use water from the estate to cap the gin to strength. So that's adding another flavour of the valley to the gin. I was given free rein to choose the flavours and to express, I guess, myself as a distiller. In terms of foraging botanicals, you can use the roots right up through the bark, the shoots, the leaves, to the flowers if they're in bloom. We had no preconceived idea when we came here of what we would use, and it's just a case of going out there and finding what's available. The lemon-scented tea tree was, to me, a no-brainer. It's just such a vibrant flavour. And citrus flavours work very nicely in gin. So to have a native citrus flavour, also with the complexity of the tea tree and some herbaceous flavours coming through, I think worked really nicely. Mikey and I agreed on a broad style, and it was decided that we would keep it within the London Dry style, a very classic style of gin.
I went out to the distillery where we dialed up the juniper and also the lemon-scented tea tree, which I felt was key to really capture the senses of Wolgan Valley into a bottle.
The story of 1832 and why 1832 is equally an interesting story that needs to be told. One of our iconic landmarks is our homestead. It's the original homestead. It was built in 1832, was restored to its former glory. It's had incredible visitors such as Charles Darwin spend the night. We're layering these lovely stories that convey a rich history of not only the valley, but Australia as well.